videos are so good, and one of my favorite things about your videos is a lot of the nonverbals that you do, where you just show something at a bad form, like for chipping or something, and you show it on the video, and you go, and then you show it again the right way, and you go, and that is so helpful because so many of us are visual. But what would you say, because you teach so many, when you teach tens of thousands of people, essentially because you are teaching online as well and doing all these great videos in addition to your stuff in person. But if someone's on a path to really get better and learn, what would you say is really one of the most important things for them to do in the early part of their golf knowledge?
That's a great question. So I'm a firm believer that even as a beginner, it's really important to go out to the golf course. Whether it's from a swing standpoint or a rule standpoint, if you aren't familiar with why you're doing the things that you are doing, then it's really hard to visualize it and kind of get to the end goal, which is obviously to improve and also be a respectful golfer out on the golf course. So just going out and playing golf, being aware of the red stakes and the yellow stakes and the white stakes and why they're there, and being curious of why things are the way they are at your particular golf course. Also observing, I think, playing with better players and observing the way that they play is one of the best ways that you can improve on your knowledge and also improve on your own game. A lot of beginners will say, do you think it's more important to go out to the driving range and bang away at golf balls, or do you think it's more important to go play? I say go play. It doesn't matter what you look like. Everyone's golf swings are different. No one's going to be paying attention to you anyway. I hate to say it, but no one pays attention to your game because they're busy paying attention to their own game. So don't be afraid to go out there and just go experience it and go experience what the golf course is all about. And also knowing that as a casual golfer, you don't have to apply every single rule when you're playing golf, right? You can drop a ball anywhere you want to tee off on the golf course. It doesn't matter.
And that brings up a great point. So I think one of the reasons that you and I are so well connected, even though we've never met in person, but I think one of the reasons we're so well connected is that we see like the big picture and we see like the experience of the player. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about teaching the rules, is I know where they've been. I know what it feels like to be new and to literally not know how to drive the cart, where to park it, where I'm not supposed to stand. I mean, you know, completely new. So I know what it feels like. And you have that same mindset of learn about your course, learn why things are there and why, if there is a drop area and where it is, where the stakes are, where the penalty areas are, so that you're knowledgeable, which will ultimately save time, which is the most important thing about golf. Number one, before anything else in the world, it's pace of play. Because if you don't have good pace of play, you're going to ruin the experience for everybody else the whole rest of the day. So pace of play is number one. And if you're able to learn things about your particular course and where the penalty areas are, where the stakes are, so you know what rule applies, whether or not you can hit a provisional, whether you can drive up to find your ball, if there's a drop area, those kinds of things, that will help you. Also watching other people and their shot, and not just for how they proceed, what that, you know, sort of athletic stance is or what decisions they make, which is a great point on your part, but also where did that ball go? If the person who hit it didn't quite see it because they were finishing their swing, the rest of the players need to know, where did it go? Let's go find it together. Let's save time to not have a problem for the people behind us. So, so important. And then you mentioned the playing not by the rules. I saw, I don't know what group I was in on Facebook, there was a question about, hey, new players, a women's group, hey, should I, you know, how soon should I get my handicap? How soon should I get a GIN index? And I'm going to ask you that question, but I know what your answer is going to be based on what you said. And I think it's exactly what I think. So what's your answer?
I get that question asked a lot, and the answer for me is you can get a gin anytime you want, but you want to make sure that you're able to successfully complete a round of golf smoothly, meaning in one go without any hiccups. And if you can successfully go through even just 9 holes, right, and feel like, okay, I can successfully commit to this score and this is what I shot, then that's when you're ready for a gin.
Now, I also think that when you commit to it, it's kind of like being only partially pregnant. You know, you're either in or you're not. And if you have a gin, now you are ethically obligated to play by the rules of golf and to post a score, an accurate score. So I would take advantage early on as a newer player who didn't quite have my game all together yet. Maybe I have a bunch of good drives and certain things that I'm good at and other things I struggle with. I would take advantage of not having to play by the rules and kind of be naive, not having to count on my strokes, being able to pick up, drop next to the person I'm playing with because I hit 2 off the tee and they were both out of bounds. So keeping that pace of play good, getting my good muscle memory, which again, if you have to play to a handicap and you have to post your score, you're going to have to hit all those bad lies. You're going to have to be uphill, downhill, side lateral, Friday, you name it, or you're going to be taking a bunch of unplayables. And so to me, I feel like it's not good for my muscle memory to be chopping it out of the rough when I would rather, as a newer player, go, oh, I don't have to worry about that. I'm going to drop next to you, girlfriend, and just hit out of the fairway. I recommend waiting to get your gin handicap until you really feel like, as you said, you can go out there and play successfully, play on pace. And then in the meantime, when you do play, only play with 3 gals or 2 gals, be a twosome or a threesome, because that gives you just a little bit more time to go through your setup routine and your mindset and have a few more shots out there, and you're not going to set the people behind you back too far. So if you could do a threesome or a twosome, I think you would also have more fun.
Yeah. And I think one last part to that is you don't have to finish out a hole. There's always a maximum. You can always X out a hole, right? And you just put the maximum number there. You don't have to shoot a 13 on a par 3 just because you feel obligated to write down a score.
You've seen me play then?
I feel like I've seen enough people play. I mean, I've done that before too, and it's not fun. It's frustrating. I don't want to play after that, right? And it puts a damper on everyone's mood. So just pick up. It's totally okay to pick up on a hole. You're not playing for anything. If you're not playing for anything, it's okay.
Right.
So,
if you're not in a competition, it's good. And you can play a better ball. You can play scramble. There's lots of other ways during your Sunday round or whatever that you can play that will enable you to have a good time and not worry about it. Well, Cathy, this has been so nice.
it has been nice. Thank you so much for the invite.